from the challenges you face to the strategies that help you succeed. With that, let's begin the session and make it an enriching and interactive experience for everyone. Hello, was I not audible? I guess there was some issue. Uh, Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome in our today's senior junior interaction session. We are really honored to have some of our most accomplished seniors with us, individuals who have set inspiring examples through their dedication, achievements, and journey beyond the classroom. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Harprap Singh, currently working as an SD at ION Group, Ms. Jia Verma as an LDP analyst at ION. We look forward to the journey from your from your journey, from the challenges you face to the strategies that help you succeed. With that, let's begin the session and make it an enriching and interactive experience for everyone.
Hi everyone, Arprab, are you there?
Hello everyone, good evening.
So we can start by telling you about the different rounds of that do actually happen in ION Group's process, and there are total 5 rounds, including the test. So there's the aptitude test, and it's basically different for each kind of role that they have come for. So for I can tell you for a technical analyst, and I think Harprab can start with the software development one.
Yeah, uh, I'd say before starting, we might just go over what Ion actually does because I guess there will be a lot of air around that because there's not much information about what actually Ion does. Most of you would have confused it with the TCS Ion, which is completely different. Uh, so basically, Ion is an Italian company which is a proper fintech which focuses on five main verticals: ion markets, ion analytics, ion core banking, and ion commodities. uh, Me and Gio as well, we both are working in ion markets. I'm in the equities department and Gia is in the fixed income department. So what we build is a software for HFTs and other investment banks to trade on ultra low latency systems and generate good results. So yeah, that's what Ion primarily does. And now we can start with the rounds or
Yes, so ION is basically, yeah. I was just saying that ION is basically a fintech company. So there is a lot of finance factor as well that is involved. So yeah, we can start with the rounds. Harpreet, you can start with the test for software development.
yeah. So I also have gotten to know that there are certain changes in the set of rounds from what we were uh, encountered to. So I guess there's the case that the cultural fit round has been replaced with a psychometric test round. Uh, but the initial rounds, only the initial rounds are different for developers or technical analysts or a data science role, which has been introduced this year only. In the very first round, the online assessment, uh, you will be given two or three DSA questions with of medium difficulty, not very tough. So you can be uh, looking at around at max you can get a three question like in a if you're a bit unlucky, I'd say. But mostly they'll focus on linked list or stacks or queues, all the linear data structures hopefully. So that should be easy to crack. And then the aptitude part is there, the logical ability and English comprehension. uh, what I would tell you is that if you actually want to qualify this round, you have to finish it in at least around half the time, if not more. Like if you're going to take 2 hours, then there will be very slim chances of you qualifying. And personally, I'd suggest that just get this round done, and then the following rounds would be easier to crack, because OA is the I'd say the round where most of us get terminated. Uh, so the best part would be to get done with this, put your best foot forward, do whatever you can, and get out of this round. So, Nojia can tell you about the OA round.
So for technical analysts, there were around 100 questions in 5 different sections. So, in namingly, if I have to tell you the sections, there was English comprehension, there were computer basics, there was aptitude, logical reasoning, and SQL. And around in 120 minutes, we were supposed to solve all the questions. So, your main target while solving the questions should be accuracy in least amount of time, because only those people actually get qualified who got all the questions correct as well as in the least amount of time. And it's quite unpredictable. For this round, there is usually no camera as far as I recall, at least for technical analysts. There was one for SDE for sure, but there was not for technical analyst round. So this is the basic round that you need to focus on. English comprehension takes a lot of time, so you need to divide your time accordingly and make sure that you do get maximum number of questions from these in the least amount of time. And they were pretty easy questions, to be honest. If you have seen CAT exam syllabus, even like really, really easy compared to like those. But yeah, similar concepts. And that is it for the first round. And once you clear the OA, as Harpreet mentioned, it's relatively easier to work on other rounds. And if I have to continue with the second round, that is the technical interview round. It's pretty different for each role again. And I mean, it totally depends on what your role is. So for technical analyst, I can tell you, like in this technical round, the main focus is on your logical reasoning and the knowledge that you should have, and how good you are at problem solving in general. So usually in this round, what they ask are some puzzles, like usually 1 to 3 puzzles, depending on the time that you actually have. They also ask you SQL and sometimes OS, sometimes computer networks as well. Not so much, but yeah, the main focus is on DBMS for sure. And in these like in this particular round, they ask you in general questions as well, general technical questions as well. So what I was asked was basically a puzzle from GFG. It was available on GFG. It's available on other sources as well. So you can practice from GFG puzzles if you want to for the interview round. And my puzzle was fairly simple. We can skip that part. And the next one that is that even if they ask you the puzzles, they might twist the questions into like something else. So you need to be really focused on how to solve that problem rather than getting the grasp of, okay, this can be done in this much time or something like that. And in SQL, they ask you fairly basic questions. I was asked the difference between delete and truncate or something like that. So it's focused more on understanding the concepts and the use cases and try to explain with examples as much as you can for every situation they give you. The better you explain, the better you are at telling what you've done and how it should be, the better chances you have. And the third thing you need to focus the most on is your resume. You should be very, very, very thorough with each and every word that you've mentioned in your resume. Because whatever you have, whatever project you have, you should be able to explain each and every aspect of it in the best way possible. And in fact, you should have scalability of that project in your mind, or anything and everything to do with whatever is there in your resume. So your background and the architecture and like performance of each tool that you've used. You should be very well versed in it. For example, I had something related to Figma in my resume because mine was a little UX based. And they did ask me straightforward that what is Figma built upon, which technology, which programming language it is built upon. And I had no idea about it at that time. So it is built on like C++, and they gave me that information during the interview. So those kind of things should be also considered while you're preparing for the interview rounds. And just basics. And then there are situation based questions as well. Like I remember very evidently, I was asked, how would you explain colors to a blind person? And I had to come up with creative examples that would solve this whole situation. And just basic problem solving skills. So that is the first round. The final thing that you need to keep in mind for every round, I would say, is to be confident with everything that you are answering. Don't doubt your own answer. If you're not sure about it, just say it with pure confidence. Don't be wrong, of course, because being wrong is the worst. Uh, but be confident about whatever you're trying to say. So that is for the TA first round. After
Yeah, so now about the developer, I'd say what everything Gia said, a lot of things you can draw parallel with the developer role as well because the essence remains the same. For a developer, what Ion primarily looks at, and I'd say that is a bit unlike other companies because the major focus at Ion for a developer is mostly on the sheer understanding of the concepts. They're not looking for someone who has an amazing CP profile or who is an amazing developer. They're actually looking for someone who knows what's going on in the system, what's the why and why, who can answer the whys and what's of everything that's going on inside, how internet works, how actually data structures mean, and why are they, if you're using a certain data structure, why are you using that. So that is the primary focus in any interview for as far as Ion is concerned. uh, what I noticed that, as well is that there's a very seldom chance that they'll ask you uh, a straightforward DSA question. Mostly they'll be asking you to implement certain data structure instead. For example, they asked me to implement a stack using Q and vice versa as well. Uh, they asked one of my friend to implement a linked list. They can ask you to implement an LRU cache system. Not exactly going into the granularity of it, but they can ask you to give a overhaul of what you're thinking. So that's one of the primary focus as far as DSA is concerned, because DSA is going to be a very prominent part of this interview, or rather any interview you're going to give in the next year or so. uh, Other than that, the first of all, they're going to start with your resume no matter what. So uh, now it depends on the interviewer. It actually depend everything depends on the interview, what they feel, and how they're going to go about it, because some interviewers like to grill someone on their resume while others prefer questioning on the skill set instead. So it totally depends. In my case, the resume is screening, or the resume asking out, was very short. Like they just inquired about the internship I was doing at that time, and what I was doing, and thankfully she had no idea of the tech stack I was working on, so she couldn't ask much. But again, you should be still be prepared for everything, for the worst case. I'd say that whatever you have mentioned on your resume, you should be able to defend each and every single line of that, each and every word of that. For that, what I did was going on ChatGPT, putting on that experience, that specific experience, and kept on cross questioning myself. Like, what could possibly go wrong? What is the one thing that I won't be able to answer? That's what I needed to find. So, be it the metrics you have mentioned in your resume points, how can you justify that? How did you measure that? You need to be thorough with everything. You should have an answer for everything. You can't go blind. So that's something very important, and that's not limited to this round, because resume is going to play a very big part in the stakeholder round as well. The stakeholder round is completely based on resume, so it is very important that you are complete thorough and thorough with your resume, each and every single line. If possible, if you're not confident with something, just remove it. Don't let it be there, because it is better not to have something you don't know, rather than get embarrassed there by not answering. Secondly, I answered after the resume round, they'll probably shift to puzzles. For puzzles, as Gia also mentioned, you'll need to be completely confident with the top 100 puzzles of GFG. That's where it's going to come from. Like, there's no other source. You just need to go deep into how the puzzles are working now. There's a very strong chance that they're not going to ask exactly the same puzzle you're going to read on the website. Because, for example, in my case, uh, there's Tony Hall problem or something, Monty Hall problem. Sorry, so that's a very very famous problem you'll encounter while you're preparing. I hope you do, because if you don't, you have not prepared well for the interview. But when you do, as far as my case was concerned, they asked the question was loosely based on Monty Hall problem, but it wasn't exactly Monty Hall problem. They asked me like, if you're, for example, someone has abducted you or kidnapped you, and in the pistol there are six holes, and uh, the bullets are in two adjacent holes. The assassin tries to shoot you in the first time, and you survive. Now he gives you a choice. He Would you want to spin the coil, or would you say him to shoot you without spinning? So that's a uh, straight probability question. So you'll need, and giving a straight away answer is not going to help. You actually, even if you have seen that problem earlier while preparing, while going on GFG, you don't have to show them that you know that problem by any means. They shouldn't have any idea that you have prepared for that. That should feel like you have seen it for the first time. It's your first hand experience with that question. uh, and it's very important how you approach that question. So I'd say that you start by questioning more. You can ask a question or two about if you have any queries about that. Just don't go straight into answering. Like, take a time, take a minute, take a couple of minutes, think about it, and then start answering. uh, and to be honest, I kind of uh, messed up in this question, the puzzle round, kind of, because I mean, I don't think I did well in that particular question, and I knew I had to make a strong comeback in the latter part of the round to actually stay in the competition. So once this was done, and you finally reach the answer somehow, because the interviewer is also going to help you and give it, and he or she would give you hints to finally reach the solution. Once you're done with the puzzle round, they'll probably shift to DSA. And as I said, for me, it was a stack and queue problem, and I'd say it was easy, and maximum to maximum easy medium, not a very hard problem. If you're prepared well, you would be able to solve it easily. Now, what is important is that it's not limited to solving that question. They'll ask you to, of course, code it on VS Code or any text editor you prefer, sharing your screen. But what's important as well is that you keep talking to them, you keep sharing the approach, what you're thinking. That is very important as well. It's not going to work if you're silent and you're just coding, and in the end you just show them the solution. They are going to ask you to try run it, and in the end they're going to ask you the time complexity and space complexity for it. There's a chance they'll ask you to optimize it as well. So the better, you would probably know this by now, but the optimal solution should come last, and you should start with a brute force approach first. That's something what everyone should keep in mind. uh, for example, in the question I was doing, it was the time complexity was amortized. So that's something which everyone's not gonna know if they aren't thorough with their topics. So I guess that's something that hit it off with the interview. Knowing these concepts was something which helped me again make a comeback in that round. Lastly, as far as OOPS is concerned, or the CS topics is concerned, oh sorry, for the DS round, they also asked me to implement a Spotify player, like what not exactly coded, but what data structures are you going to use to implement a Spotify type app, like which data structure would you use to create a playlist, or for example, if you want to go to the previous song or to the next song, which data structure would help you, and then just answering the data structure won't help. You need to justify it by telling the complexity, which is, for example, I mentioned priority queue. That's a max queue. It's going to take login time, etc., etc. So you need to keep that in mind and justify your answers as well. Just fluking would help. After that, they would probably shift to the CS topics, and I won't say a lot of focus would be on computer networks. I personally, I haven't heard anyone being asked computer networks in the technical round. So you, I won't say skip that, but that should be your last priority. First, focus on OOPS, operating system, and DBMS. These three should be paramount. And as far as OOPS is concerned, they're not going to ask you a straightforward question like what are the four pillars of OOPS, or what is uh, abstraction, inheritance. They're not going to ask you that. uh, they might they might ask you what is a pure virtual function, abstract class, etc., etc. But the primary focus, by as far as OOPS is concerned, is going to be how well you understand OOPS concepts. So for me, they asked to implement an expense manager app like Splitwise, and I had to give a overall description and a high level design for that app, like which class is going to be the main class, then the child classes, what are the properties and methods of that certain class, how are you going to implement that method, would it be public, would it be private, uh, uh, should you give it the access of friend class or not. So all these things matter a lot, and that's something they're going to grill you upon. If because this is straightforward understanding of the concepts and the clarity of the concepts you have with OOPS, and that is very important. I can tell you from my experience in the last 6 months, OOPS is something which is going to come again and again in your way while you are at it. So yeah, uh, focus on that. Don't just mug up the top 50 or 10 or 100 interview question for OOPS. That's not going to help. You need to have an understanding for it as well. And other than that, they'll ask you a few questions about operating systems or DPMS, like how does static work, static keyword, or anything like that, like simple thing. And it won't last more than an hour. They'll end it by an hour, and if you qualify, they'll call you for the next round, which should be the case study round. So yeah, so yeah, would start with the case study round first. Or because the TAs, they'll probably have their case study round just after or right next to their technical round. So both of these rounds take place together. So that might take 1.5 hours because that's happening together. But as far as developers are concerned, once they have qualified the first round, then only they'll be uh, able to give the second round. That's a case study round. Uh, so as you know, they're not expecting you to give a consulting level explanation of that particular case study. They just want to see how creative, how novel, and how practical you are with your approach, how practical you are with your questions. Again, the key here is asking questions. You can't just go straight into answering. Take 5 minutes, take 10 minutes, take as long as you want, not an hour, but just ask them questions, drill them. They should know that you're trying to achieve granularity in that question. You're trying to go deep. You're trying to cover all the bases, all the edge cases. That's what they want to know. They're not questioning on use. They're not looking for you to use a framework, consulting frameworks to solve that case study. No, they just want to see if you have that required certain business acumen in you or not, or if you are novel with your approaches or not. So that's what they're going to question. For me, it was a case study based on Amazon, and like the Amazon last mile delivery is not satisfactory for the users. They are not happy with it. So how can you go on improving that? So my suggestion would be to take time, think about it thorough, and then bifurcate your answers into different, for example, technical changes you can make, or inventory changes you can make, or logistical changes you can make. You can compartmentalize your answer into that, and that would help because that would give clarity to the interview that you're actually dotting the i's and crossing the t's. you know you can go from A to B, you can join the dots. That's what they want to know. So once you're done with that, I think you should get through these two rounds, because these two rounds are pretty much the uh, most eliminatory rounds here. Because like yeah, 10-20% only, 10% will 10-20% will qualify from this round to the next round, for to the subsequent rounds. So you need to be very thorough with this. You need to get through this. So
I
after
mean,
this two rounds,
basically, each round is an elimination round, so you need to keep that in mind while you are preparing or like giving the interview. And that is the main part about it. And I'll also mention with the same here for the case study round, even I was given the same case study, the Amazon last mile delivery. And I think it matters differently for each person. In fact, most TAs have their technical round with the the case study round with the technical round. I also had them together. There are times when they are conducted separately, but mine, both of them were finished in 1 hour, and that was the case for most people I know. Sometimes TAs are also asked to code like very, 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 very basic things. Like one of my friends was asked to code like just scope variables of Python, and because he had some projects in Python. So if you have a project, do expect that they might ask you technical questions from that project as well. I forgot to mention this previously, like I had a project in like web development, front end development. So they did ask me React basics and props and routes and everything. How do they work, the logic behind that, and how did I implement it? So you need to keep that in mind, that things like those might as well be considered. Apologies, but I am like in a sort of, I do have some urgent work to attend to, so I will just sum up my entire experience as soon as possible, and then Harprab can explain the details of the entire experience as stakeholder round from like the third and the fourth round and the last round, basically stakeholder to the end. They're very, very similar for each and every person. So if I have to talk to you about the fourth round, that is the offline round, that is the stakeholder round. So, what actually happens here is that it is the offline round called the ION Day. And here, somebody who has at least like a 10 years of experience in ION is usually the one taking your interview. So, they have taken plenty of interviews and you can't really outsmart them. So, you should definitely keep that in mind while leading the interview or like being in the interview. Make sure that the interview doesn't flow out of your hand or you say something that leads to your elimination. You need to be very careful about what you speak here. There'll be very general questions here in for the starting, whatever is there in your resume, your college experience, and the extracurricular activities that you did here. So, basic questions would be, what do you know about ION? So you can research the website, get to know a little. It would be a little hard to understand, but that's okay. They are not really focused on how you basically what content you've read, but they're more focused on how you will explain the content that you've read and what do you know about it. And so basically, since this round is offline and it's in person, you, there'll be like direct communication with the person. So your body language matters a lot as well. So you need to be confident. You need to be really alert and observant on how it is going, and you need to lead the interview in that direction, which will benefit you the most. And like, so for my stakeholder round, it was around 45 minutes, I guess 45 to 50 minutes, in which I was asked my entire resume. And there are some times like there was like one project in my resume which was based on ML. And I was basically, it was a customer churn project. So I was asked to scale that project, that how would I scale that particular project to a global scale, and even if that is done, how would I scale it further? So basically what the interviewer will try to do is corner you, and then you have to find out the solution to those problems even in that particular corner. There'll be very limited room to think about because you must have answered it previously, but you need to make sure that you keep coming up with answers separately and so on and so forth. Like I was asked in general a question in the stakeholder round that it was more like if there is some problem and you have no seniors available, how would you tackle it if it's a client that's consulting you or something like that? And that went on for a good 10 minutes, I would say. The same question, because I was asked, how would I solve this problem? Then there was a little more twist, making it more tough. And then there was another twist, and so on and so forth. So you always have to think creatively and be in an approach that is logical and reasonable at the same time, because you can't really go out of the scope of the question, but you need to keep in mind the problem solving aspect of it. And you need to be really, really, really thorough with whatever you're saying. So there's not much you can prepare here for sure, because you would never know what they'll ask. There'll be some very unexpected questions as well. Strengths and weaknesses, just your general hobbies questions, whatever is there in your resume. Everything here is something that you need to be really thorough about, and you need to speak really confidently and make sure that you convince the person in front of you that you are a very eligible candidate who can solve problems in any given situation. So that is how the basic stakeholder round is. There'll be a lot of imaginary situations, for probably two or three, and they'll ask you to solve questions on the same. And there might be some points where you can't really find an answer to that. In those kind of scenarios, you should probably take some time, ask for time. That's okay. They'll give you the time to think about it and just frame a good answer in that time period and answer thoroughly. That's it. That is the stakeholder round. So after this, there is the cultural fit round for TA, and it's basically same for everyone. This was taken by the country head, but I think now this is being replaced with the psychometric test. But I'll still give you a gist about it. That the cultural fit round basically is more like a group discussion rather than like a proper interview. So what they do is they ask you to briefly introduce yourself, and they ask you location preferences, like where would you join Ion, like if you do get in. And they ask about the understanding of your roles. So you need to be really, really thorough with the job description that has been provided. Feel free to contact people separately for that as well. But for technical analyst, I can tell you that technical analyst is the role where they expect you to be very thorough with the client side of Ion, and they expect you to answer clients as well. There will be quite a lot of client interaction with regards to the products and their technicalities that are present. So you need to take a look around with the Ion products, and it's just morely exactly what is there in the job description. So you need to be well versed with the same. So that's mostly the cultural round. Most people are eliminated in the stakeholder round if they are not thorough with the concepts or whatever is there in the resume. So I would tell you to focus more on your resume. The cultural fit round was not really a lot of elimination. Rarely people get eliminated in that. And the last round is the future fit round, which is like around 30 minutes, and it's taken by one of the higher ups in Ion. It's like a 30 minutes round. So mine was taken by somebody from like top management from Italy. So, and they do ask your experience based on whatever has happened in your previous rounds. And again, similar goes to your resume. Here you might have to showcase your projects and how do they actually work, where are they implemented. And so this round actually holds some value in your elimination as well, because it's the last round, I would say. And here they also ask you about Ion in more detail. And so you need to know about the products as well. You can all find it all on the website. And so they'll ask you more about co-curricular activities and what actually you've done in your college apart from your studies. So this is away from the technical aspect of it. It's more on the general aspect of how you have seen yourself and performed so far, and how your resume reflects you apart from your studies and from your curricular and technical knowledge. And the questions are really basic here. You need to know really how to say words that will make an impact, and make sure you have a defense for everything that is thrown at you here. It's the last two rounds are really general, so there's not much about it. And as far as the questions are concerned, I was asked about what leadership means to me and how leadership works and how would I guide people if I have to. and I was asked about the general aspects of my resume. Like my resume had a lot of technology, so they genuinely asked me how well versed I was in each and every one of them. So be mindful of what you speak, because there might be a counter question to everything that you may answer. And if you answer it wrong, there is a chance that you might be eliminated as well. But there are no exactly wrong or right answers to general questions, I would say. So for each and every round, be really confident, be really prepared, and think about it. You can think and answer. You can take your time for most of the rounds. It's not a problem, and that is pretty much it for my experience, I would say. And really sorry, I need to leave right now. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on my LinkedIn. It's Gia Verma there itself, and you will probably be able to find me on LinkedIn as well. That's it. I'll just cut it short. And rest, Harprab will be able to explain the further rounds in a lot more detail than that. Thank you, guys. I'll probably leave. Harprab?
Thank you, Jia. Uh, I guess Jia has actually explained it quite well, all the rounds, because following the case study round, the rounds are going to be pretty similar for both the roles, or all the three of the roles now, regardless of whatever you're applying for. As far as the new psychometric test, because we didn't have that at our time, but we were subjected to one of these tests during our induction program. So they'll probably ask you behavioral questions that won't be difficult for you to answer, and there's no right or wrong to it. They're just going to try to find what kind of person you are. And again, I have my own reservations about how accurate or well the system is, because in the end they'll probably assign you roles like orchestrator, a leader, or or some roles like these, which based on the question or how you answer them. So I don't know if that's going to be taken a lot seriously, and I don't know if that's going to be conducted in the same way as it was for us during the induction. So just see how it goes, surprise. And after that, the stakeholder round, as Gia mentioned quite well, that's completely based on your resume. As I mentioned all the tips earlier, be thorough with it, be concise, and you should be ready to defend it at all costs. Do whatever it takes. Sit on ChatGPT for a couple of hours, 3 hours, if it takes, for a single role, for a single project. But go as deep as you can. You should know every single word you have mentioned in the resume, because they can ask you anything. And it's not limited to that, because you also need to have a future vision for it. Like if you have a project, what kind of scalability you're looking at in the future. Are you looking it to scale horizontally or vertically? All these questions you should have in your mind. uh, just if possible, ask someone who has experience in your friends or family, who they can answer you better, like how they're going to grill. For example, uh, where I was interning, I asked my manager to tell me like what actually is an interview is looking for when they're interviewing on your resume. So that actually quite helped me, because I had just joined that internship, and I really uh, hadn't done much up till that point, but I had written it in my resume, so I had to say something when the push comes to the shove. So when I was asked about my whole stakeholder round was based on my internship only, which I started 10 days earlier. So there was a lot of fluking, there was a lot of lying, so to say, pretending, so to say. So I had to go deep into the tech stack I was assigned to. So I had to learn it myself at just before the round, because I had to I you can't say sitting in the round that, oh, I have just started working here, I don't have much experience, I'm learning this or that. These all sound excuses to me. So I had to go through, because I was working on SAP and ABAP language. So I had to go deep into that, like how it actually works. I went through few projects based on SAP, and that's the reason I'm sitting here with you, to be honest, because that round is very difficult to crack. Take you there's a 50-50 chance you'll make it or not, because a lot of things depend on the interviewer. You're lucky if you get a lenient interviewer or a nice person. It'll probably last 30 40 minutes, and they'll judge you a lot on your temperament and your body language. So I'd recommend work on that. Sit straight, be confident while talking, look eye to eye, and be respectful. That's something very important. They'll ask you situation based questions, as Dia mentioned. Probably, for example, a teammate is not listening to you, and you know you are right, but he's a senior. So how you going to deal with this situation? And no matter what the question, you can't be radical in your approach. You need to be diplomatic. Whatever happens, if that's what they're testing you on, if you're going to be a team player or not, if you're going to be a rebel in the team, or you're going to be a headache for them. So please avoid it. Even if you feel that, oh, I'm going to fight for it, what I feel or what my opinion is, don't share it for your own sake. Be diplomatic as far as possible. They'll and they might ask you about your family. They ask me about my family, so that's not something to you you don't need to prepare for that, I hope. um, yeah, so stakeholder round, everyone has a very different experience as far as stakeholder round is concerned. There are 3 4 stakeholders majorly in India, and I hope they are going to take your interview early. So all of them are pretty nice people, but they'll see through you. So don't try to act smart in front of them. Don't try to pretend in front of them. They all of them have like 25 30 years of experience. They're working in this company before we were born. So you know who you are up to. So yeah, be confident, be honest, and then that's all it's going to take to clear this round. Once you're done with the stakeholder round, the next round for us was cultural fit round, but that didn't anymore. So you'll probably shift to the future fit round, I suppose. Now the future fit round is, I'd say there's a 99% chance that you are done, that you're through. Uh, there's a very menial chance that you will get out uh, of the race by now, like because it's sad for them as well, like they've spent enough time on you to just terminate you in the last round. So the last round is, if you don't fuck up, you will not get out. As simple as that. So try to be as simple and as honest as you can. Again, it will be a very small round, like a short round, like for 13 or 14 and 15 minutes. Then for me it was like 8 or 9 minutes, because it's usually taken by the higher management in Italy. So like, another thing about Ion, uh, so there are two kind of growths as far as a company is concerned. It could be organic or inorganic. Like if your company is growing on its own and you're basically dividing it into verticals and growing new verticals, that's organic growth. Inorganic growth is acquiring and merging with new companies. So Ion has grown a lot inorganically as well. So there are a lot of, for example, the product I'm working on, Fidesa. Uh, this was acquired by Ion in 2018 or 17, which is a trading software. So there are a lot. Most of the products are acquired at some point of the time. So everyone has different cultures, and probably the person interviewing you would not be exact inherently from Ion. They might be from a different company. So you just see through it. Like, uh, it won't be very hard. Like, I really don't have any suggestions for that round. You'll get through it. So if you're there, like, start enjoying. You're good to go. So yeah, these are the majorly about all the rounds. And once you're through the stakeholder round, I'd say you're pretty much through. Like, there's no chance of you getting terminated after that. Very minimal chance. Uh, yeah. So that's all. And one last message. After that, you can ask your questions or any queries you have. Uh, this won't be the last company that's going to come on campus, and you are going to make it. Like, सबका हो जाता है. That's what I've seen with my friends as well. We have Haley company, and the time is very uncertain, and there are chances when you will have self-doubt through these time throughout this year, because you're very lucky if you get placed at this time. There's nothing better than that. I can vouch for that. Like, it's a once you get placed in July or August, the next 6 months are a vacation. You can do anything. Like, from if that motivates you, nothing better than that, because that time was amazing for me, man, pretty much. So if that happens, amazing. That doesn't matter. For every company, you should prepare that as if it is the last company that's going to come. That's what I did. That's what my friends who have qualified did. We knew that uh, there might not be a lot of, so to say, better companies than Ion which will come on campus. Maybe they might, and they did actually. But at that time, we kept this mentality so as to motivate ourselves to get through that patch. So we work really hard through that week. So that's what I'd recommend. As much time as you have left before the interview, just put your head down and just work on it. Like, if you have to go through sleepless night, doesn't matter. Work hard, be thorough with every, maybe CS topics, be it your resume, be it DSA. Just, this is the final push, and these are serious times, and you'll make it through it. So that's not going to be difficult. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So now, if you have any questions, you can start with that. Yes, yes, go. I, I thought Garg had something to say.
Guys, you can also ask in the chat bot also. Her
Hello. Can you please tell me the criteria for clearing of tomorrow's exam, like online exam? Each sector would be having how many questions and how we should approach each sector and which sector to complete first and which to complete last and how many questions of DSA and everything about that.
Yeah, so uh, to be very honest, I actually don't remember the exact details of that round. Well, it's been quite much time, but there were, I guess, two DSA questions, or three, probably two, and they were like easy to medium. I would say they were very difficult. You can easily solve them on yourself, by yourself. And what I did was solving DSA question first and then jumping to aptitude or comprehension or everything, because that's something that comes easy to me, and I can do it pretty fast as compared to the DSA round, because once you are done with the DSA part, that's a pretty big chunk of your uh, performance, I'd say. So if you're good with that, and if you have submitted uh, all the three questions, and you have all the test cases passed, the confidence will of course help you in solving the other part as quickly as possible as well. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. And I guess there were total 26 questions, including DSA. So like two or three DSA, two DSA questions, and 24 aptitude, including everything, comprehension and yeah, everything. But whenever you get the test link, just click on that, and you'll the interface of HackerRank, that will show you a number of questions, and you can reduce through that, like the two DSA questions, the three DSA questions, and the rest would be aptitude.
I see. And then they will be checking whether you are accurate in correct time.
Matters, because uh, there were a lot of people, a lot of my peers as well. who had solved all two or three of the DSA questions properly, like they had all the test cases passed successfully. And aptitude, you do it. There are ways to get through the aptitude round. But as far as DSA round was concerned, they were able to complete it, and in pretty much good time. Like for example, 1 hour, 10 minutes, or 1 hour 30 minutes, for example, like that. But they still didn't get the call for the next round because of the time duration. So what I recommend is, if possible, and if you can, just finish it in within 1 hour, because that will probably carry, and of course with accuracy, that's not going to be substituted. uh,
And,
if you're able to solve it within an hour, nothing better than that, and you'll probably get through this round.
and if somebody clears the first round, then when can they expect to hear for the second round? And also, will they only ask from the tech stack that we have mentioned in our resumes, or they can ask anything randomly?
So like, are you concerned, like, if you have done DSA in C++, and if they'll ask in Java, the training period will take around 1 and 2. The training period will take around 1 and 2, or a couple of months, I'd say, and that's when they train you on the tech stack based on your team. So that nothing matters. Whatever you have done in your college or anything, that won't matter ahead. They'll teach you on their own what they want out of you. So yeah, they just question on you what they question on you, what you have done in your college life, not something uh, that they want. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I can see some questions in the chat box. If Shreya getting more information. You have, as far as if you're asking for developer, you have to get all the DSA questions right. Even uh, getting one question wrong would probably mean you're not getting through, because the competition is very slim. Uh, in at our, like last year, around 770 people were shortlisted for the OA, and only 110 or 120 made it to the interview. So you can see the ratio. So you have to get as well as DSA, you have to get all of them correct, accurately, and in time. And aptitude, you can fumble one or two, but still you have to be as accurate as you can. Uh, what will be the tentative duration between successive interview rounds? So once you're done with the OA, I suppose it only took a week, less than a week before the interview name was shortlisted. And after once you started with the interview with the first round, uh, there's no time, pretty much. Like for example, if I have technical interview today, uh, and if you are lucky or unlucky, I don't know, if you get if the time you get is in the morning, and by the night you're shortlisted already in both the rounds, in the case study and the technical round, you'll probably get called the next day only. Like it happened for a lot of us, because for example, we had a technical interview on 27 July, and we were called for the next round of the Ion Day on the next day, which was Saturday. And for example, my name came on Saturday, so I was called on Monday. So I had a day to prepare for Ion Day. But there's not any guarantee that you'll get that buffer to prepare for. So you need to do sort of with your preparation now only. So there's hardly any time between successive interview rounds. Okay, where did you study OSDBMS? Okay, so I prefer reading documentations or websites rather than watching videos. Uh, to each their own. You might feel more comfortable in watching videos or one shots. Uh, Personally, I feel reading gives me more confidence, and it helps me frame answers better when I'm in an interview, because once you have read it in that language. Because probably the video you will be watching would be in Hindi, or the language you like, and then you will be converting that and translating that in your mind, and then you'll be answering. So a lot of essence get lost in the translation. That's what I documentation, and the language is pretty good. You're able to really better. So that's something what I did. I use the GFG, a lot of articles from GFG and other articles from Medium, like anywhere you can find. And yeah, the OSD you can get through with that. And you can also watch uh, the videos if you are stuck with something or you're not understanding something. But that's my opinion personally. To summarize, we have to focus more for
And what are
technical.
the requirements for technical analysis?
For technical,
Technical analyst.
okay. Uh, for technical analysts, they won't question you on DSA or problem solving, but they'll 100% question you on the CS topics. So even if you're applying for that's probably perfectly a non-tech role, but even then you have to have the knowledge of CS basics, operating system, DBMS, rules that remains same for both the roles or all three of the roles. So there's no getting out of it. So I'll say you should probably focus on that, and with a lot more uh, focus on SQL as well, because that's something they question more. Yeah,
Any further things we need to do?
yeah, 100% solve those puzzles, 100 of them. Like the mathematicals and the analytic ones are like paramount. You have to uh, have them at your fingertips, because that they will be asked 100%. The shape ones can still be avoided. Because puzzles are not limited to the technical interview round only. They can also be asked in the stakeholder round. And if you're applying for a technical analyst, a lot of my friends were asked puzzles in the stakeholder round. So you have to, be as thorough as you can with the puzzles. Like go through it again and again
Sir,
and build understanding.
sir, can you name types of puzzles, like rename them, please?
Certainly why a proposal. But yeah, can you repeat the question?
Sir, can you name the types of puzzles we need to practice?
हाँ, so बेसिकली दो तरीके की बाइफर्केशन होगी जीएफजी पे, अगर तुम लिंक खोलोगे तो मैं लिंक यहाँ पे पिन भी कर दूंगा। तो उसमें एनालिटिकल मैथमेटिकल जो दो मतलब अब अपने आप को ऐसे कोसने की और ऐसे तड़पाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। अगर 2-3 मिनट में नहीं समझ में आ रहा है तो कोई हर्ज नहीं है उसमें सोल्यूशन देख लेने में। तुम पजल का सोल्यूशन देख लो एंड जस्ट मूव फॉरवर्ड, क्योंकि टाइम नहीं है अभी। मतलब जैसे इतना अपने आप को टेस्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं, बस वो ध्यान
Okay, sir, got it.
के नव्या।
डू द क्वालिटी ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट्स मैटर और मोर ऑफ द नॉलेज मैटर्स? कि मतलब अगर हमारा इनोवेटिव प्रोजेक्ट है बट उसमें इतना सारा टेक्स्ट स्टैक है कि आप हर की बहुत अच्छी नॉलेज नहीं ले पाओ, तो वो रेज्यूमे में डालना बेटर होगा या बेसिक प्रोजेक्ट बट जिसमें आपको अच्छे से नॉलेज हो सारे लैंग्वेजेस की?
मतलब आई बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, उनको ज़्यादा कंसर्न नहीं होता है कि क्वालिटी ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट क्या है या फिर क्वालिटी ऑफ इंटर्नशिप भी क्या है। उनको बस फ़र्क ये पड़ता है कि जो आपने किया है, हाउ वेल वर्स यू आर विद दैट मैटर्स। मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि तुमने किया भी और तुम्हें आता भी नहीं है। अगर वैसा है तो देन दैट्स अ मेजर रेड फ्लैग। लेकिन अगर even if project is simple and basic, but you are clear with your topics and you can answer all the questions, even the hard ones, like क्योंकि जो मतलब if अगर नींव स्ट्रांग है तभी बिल्डिंग स्ट्रांग बनती है उसको। तो अगर तुम्हारे बेसिक स्ट्रांग है तभी तुम आगे कर सकते हो। एंड एज आई सेड कि उनको फ़र्क ही नहीं पड़ने वाला इन द लॉन्ग रन, क्योंकि जैसे मुझे जो भी आता था टेक्स्ट तो दैट डिडंट मतलब आई वाज लकी कि मेरे को सी प्लस प्लस ही आती थी, और मेरे को जो मेरा अभी भी टेक्स्ट टैग है वो सी प्लस प्लस ही है। तो दैट वाज समथिंग व्हिच आई वाज लकी। बट ऐसे कई लोग हैं जिन्होंने सी प्लस प्लस करी ही नहीं थी कॉलेज में, मतलब वो जावा में थे एंड अब वो सी प्लस प्लस कर रहे हैं। तो यू गेट इनफ टाइम टू लर्न व्हेन यू आर इन द कंपनी। तो इसलिए उन्हें फ़र्क भी नहीं पड़ता है कि टू बी ऑनेस्ट तुमने किस तरीके के प्रोजेक्ट्स पे काम किया है। व्हाट मैटर्स इज कि तुम्हें समझ कितने अच्छे से आया और तुम्हें मतलब वही तुम एक डॉट से दूसरी डॉट को ज्वाइन कर सकते हो कि नहीं, वो इम्पोर्टेंट है, बीइंग अ लिटिल स्ट्रीट स्मार्ट। यस।
थैंक यू।
ओके। एनी स्पेसिफिक?
If someone misses a iron right now, can he again sit for iron placements? Like for last year, it came 2 times.
हाँ मतलब वो उसमें कुछ नहीं बोलते वो, लेकिन अभी जब लास्ट ईयर आए थे तो किसी को, अभी जब सेकेंड टाइम आए तो किसी को लेकर नहीं गए थे, तो वो तो रहता है। बट हाँ अगर अगर आती है तो ऑब्वियसली कोई रोकेगा नहीं दो बैठने में, एंड मतलब होपफुली हो ही जाए। तो तब भी तो अब काफ़ी चेंज हो गया था मतलब फॉर्मेट में, जब अभी सेकंड टाइम भी आई थी तब भी थोड़ा फॉर्मेट अलग था इंटरव्यूज़ का देन जो हमारे टाइम पे था 6-7 महीने पहले। तो हाँ थोड़ा थोड़ा फॉर्मेट चेंज भी होता रहता है। बट अगर आएगी तो हाँ तो कोई नहीं रोक सकता तुमको बैठने से, अगर मतलब होपफुली तुम तब तक हो ही जाओगे प्लेस कहीं ना कहीं, तो इतनी चिंता भी नहीं होगी। What is required for technical analyst? Any specific tips for the data science analyst role? The data science analyst role is pretty new because uh, अभी तक काफ़ी कम कॉलेजेस में गई थी आईऑन फॉर डेटा साइंस रोल, एंड मतलब इस बार भी पता नहीं उन्हें कितनी हायरिंग करनी है डेटा साइंस के लिए। अभी भी बहुत कम डेटा साइंस एनालिस्ट हैं, जो एक स्कूल ऑफ थॉट हो सकता है कि वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा हायरिंग करेंगे इस रोल के लिए, क्योंकि कम है। एक स्कूल ऑफ थॉट हो सकता है कि रिक्वायरमेंट ही कम है तो कम हायरिंग होगी। सो वो मुझे तो नहीं एग्जैक्टली नहीं पता, लेकिन जब अभी डेटा साइंस के लिए आई थी, क्योंकि जब सेकेंड टाइम आई थी नेट में, तब डेटा साइंस के लिए आई थी, तो उन्होंने ओ ए में तो आई गेस कुछ मॉडल ट्रेन करने को दिया था, एंड ऐसा कुछ था। मतलब एग्जैक्टली मैं अभी श्योर नहीं हूँ, आई कैन आस्क माई फ्रेंड्स, अगर तुम्हें कोई सीनियर पता है जो बैठा हो डेटा साइंस रूम के लिए अभी जब आई थी, तो तुम उनसे पूछ सकते हो, बेटर बता पाएंगे। वरना पर या ओ ए तो अलग होता है हमारा तीनों का, मतलब डी डेवलपर वालों से भी अलग होगा डेटा साइंस का काफ़ी, क्योंकि मेजर फोकस पाइथन वगैरह पे रहता है। तो अराउंड हाउ मेनी डेज अविनाश चौधरी कुछ टाइप यार डी एस ए क्वेश्चन नॉर्मल रहते हैं, मतलब एज ए सेड लीन या डेटा स्ट्रक्चर से आगे नहीं जाएंगे वो प्रोबेबली, वो रहेंगे मैक्सिमम स्टैक यूज लिंक लिस्ट तक ही घूमते रहेंगे, अगर ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा ट्री तक चले जाएंगे, ट्री से आगे तो नहीं जाते। मतलब मैंने काफ़ी कम लोगों का सुना है कि ग्राफ का कुछ क्वेश्चन पूछा हो, ट्रीज का सिर्फ पूछ लिया था किसी से, हॉरिजॉन्टल ट्रेवर्सल पूछ लिया था किसी से, ऐसा कुछ था। बट पर वो वहीं तक रहेंगे, मतलब वेरी लेस चांस कि वो कहीं और जाएं। व्हाट इज द वर्क इन आईऑन? नहीं नहीं, आईऑन में बहुत बढ़िया है यार, मतलब टीम टू टीम डिपेंड करता है अगेन, लाइक काफ़ी ज़्यादा ही टीम्स हैं। मेरा आई एम आई ऑन मार्केट्स एंड इन इक्विटीज़, इक्विटीज़ में भी मार्केट डेटा टीम होती है, मार्केट डेटा के अंदर फीड हैंडलर टीम होती है, मतलब बेसिकली जो भी एक्सचेंजेस हैं डिफरेंट डिफरेंट एन एस सी बी एस सी बाहर के एक्सचेंज, मतलब मेरा काम मोस्टली यू एस के एक्सचेंजेस पर आया, ग्लोबेक्स, सी एम ई सी बी टी एन एन वाई करके एक्सचेंजेस होते हैं यूएस में, तो मेरा उन पे रहा है काम। तो हाँ मतलब जो भी फीड आती है एक्सचेंजेस से उसे हैंडल करना, सर्वर डेवलपमेंट करना वगैरह वगैरह, तो काम तो यार इंटरेस्ट, इफ़ यू हैव अ बिट इंटरेस्ट इन फाइनेंस साइड एज वेल, एंड तुम्हें उस तरफ भी पसंद, मतलब सिर्फ 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 डेवलपमेंट पसंद नहीं है, तो फिर तो काफ़ी मज़ा आता है काम में। और वर्क कल्चर यार वही है, मतलब चिल है, पर वही है 9 घंटे कंपल्सरी है, ऑलमोस्ट 45 आवर वीक है, और आना ही होता है, और वर्क फ्रॉम होम 5 6 3 महीने, बट ये तो बात की बात है। But if the resume they ask to submitted one, yeah, you don't need to bring your resume for the offline round. Like they have it on their systems, like the one you have submitted in the Namankan form probably, or the form you got later, उसी में से वो पूछ लेंगे, they don't need another resume. Are we required to add the optimal coding if we pass on? हाँ हाँ, of course, मतलब वो अगर मतलब कि एक तरीका होता है, एक लाइक एक नुआंस है टू फर्स्ट शेयर द ब्रूट फोर्स अप्रोच, देन उसके बाद धीरे धीरे उसे बेटर करते रहो और फिर लास्ट में ऑप्टिमम बताना अलॉन्ग विद द टाइम कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी इवन स्पेस कॉम्प्लेक्सिटीज। तो वो तो एक तरीका है आंसर करने का, बट सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट तो ऑप्टिमल ही होता है, सिर्फ ब्रूट फोर्स करके तो नहीं होगा। और किसी को कुछ
भैया, आपका कोई टॉप मेट है क्या, अगर उस पे पर्सनल सवाल पूछने हो तो?
नहीं यार, आप लिंक्डइन पे पूछ सकते हैं ऐसा कोई भी सवाल।
और भैया, आयन जैसी कंपनीज क्रैक करने के लिए कितने डीएसए क्वेश्चन करने पड़ते हैं, और आपने कोई शीट फॉलो की थी क्या?
यार ऐसे कोई नंबर नहीं होता है डीएसए क्वेश्चंस का, मतलब कुछ लोगों की अंडरस्टैंडिंग में तो 100 150 क्वेश्चन में फुल हो जाती है, कुछ की 500 करके भी नहीं होती, तो वो तो वही टूल्स दे रहा हूँ। बट हाँ, शीट तो है सब्सक्राइबर वाली करते हैं, मतलब वही करी होगी, आपने भी करी होगी।
ठीक है भैया, मैं वही फॉलो करूंगा, फिर आपको रिजल्ट बताऊंगा।
ठीक है। और किसी को डाउट है कुछ? यार इंटर्नशिप मैटर नहीं करती, मतलब वही अगेन वही तो प्रोजेक्ट्स के लिए सेम की कितने अच्छे से तुम्हें आता है वो मैटर करता है, rather than कहाँ कर रहे हो क्या कर रहे हो, उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता। और भाई कहाँ पे है वो अराउंड वो तो मतलब सीडीसी वाले बताएंगे, मतलब और किसी को नहीं है डाउट तो जो भी सीडीसी का रिप्रेजेंटेटिव है प्लीज ये करो।
Sir, there is one more question in the chat box.
ओके, डीपी क्वेश्चन यार वेरी वेरी रेयर, मतलब अब मैं मना कर दूंगा फिर आ जाए तो भी अच्छी बात नहीं है, लेकिन अ, बहुत ही रेयर चांस होगा कि डीपी क्वेश्चन पूछ लें, मतलब नेग्लिजिबल ही होगा, अब फिर किस्मत खराब हो तो फिर क्या ही करें, लेकिन कम ही चांस है उसका।
With this, we are wrapping up our Q&A session. Before we close today's session, I'd like to take a moment to thank our seniors, Mr. Harpreet Singh and Ms. Jia Verma, for taking the time to be with us and share their journey so openly and honestly. Your insights, stories, and guidance have truly left us inspired. To all the juniors here, I hope today's session helped you well and made you more confident. Thanks a lot for being a wonderful audience. With that, we are officially ending this session. Thank you so much.
थैंक यू फॉर हैविंग मी, किसी और को कुछ डाउट हो तो प्लीज़ बाय बाय, एंड सर मत बोलो प्लीज़।